Hey folks, it's Cameron from the Brushfire Mind, and this is coffee. If you check out the link down below in the description, you can find ways to support us by buying us more coffee. Okay, thanks. So the cult and the brainwashing, you know what? That feels like a good place to
Go ahead and transition to the next piece.
Well, to transition and then detransition.
Apparently, because Demi Lovato updates her pronouns.
This is from Libs of TikTok, which means that it's from somebody else, and Libs of TikTok reposted it to remind us all, hey guys, this is what your Eli Mistles are into. That's a kid. That's a child. That's not an underage adult. And that's all the fat men and ladies clothing I can handle for now. I'm going to skip to the end so you can hear what happens. But you know, it's all the fault of those evil capitalists, because they're only interested in money. And oh my God, yes, this happened in California, and I'm gonna back the clip up just a little bit to a kind of wider shot so you can see. I want you to pay attention to what you're looking at there. Do you see what that is? Do you see what that is, Cameron?
Mall?
A giant public space. Yes, it's a mall. Right. This isn't just some trashy strip club that happens to be supporting predators and monsters. No. This is a freaking mall.
But they're not coming for the children. They're not trying to brainwash your children. They're not trying to hypersexualize your children. They're not trying to confuse your children or turn your children.
You think that we'll corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked? Funny, just this once.
Okay.
No, they're not trying to.
Okay.
They're not trying to do anything.
Okay.
Anything like that.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
Nothing at all. Cause man, and just everything about it. You know, I saw a meme that really encapsulated. The question is not, why won't you bring your kids to Drag Queen Story Hour? The question is, why do drag queens need an audience of children? And that is, yeah. In fact, the left likes to pass around this other meme called the paradox of tolerance, where if you are tolerant toward us evil Nazi right-wingers, you end up in a death camp because of your paradox of tolerance. Oh,
you mean Bernie's staff?
No, what I was going to say was, you mean like the paradox of tolerance of how you want to sexualize and queerify everything in our culture to the point to where now, if you watch that I've watched that video several times because I was looking for subtle clues, and I'm
getting worried about you.
No, just hear me out. Because I felt like once the first parent put money on the stage, there were other parents who were socially pressured to do the same. Because now, okay, I think this is fucking weird. However, my peer group clearly wants me to do it. So am I the bad guy for being fucking weird? Or am I the bad guy for not following the social pressure of my peer group? And, but you totally can't spread a social contagion that way at all. It's not like shame is one of the most effective tactics in human history.
Right. It's not like you could convince a country to, I don't know, genocide a group of people based on the length of their noses by publicly shaming people into genociding a group of people based on their noses. Was that adequate vagary?
I think that was adequate vagary, and I don't look. Yeah, it just. Yes, and your fantastic wife says one of us.
But this is pure cult mentality. You. Oh God!
Grab your kids and get the fuck out of there! Don't bring your kids there in the first place.
Right, don't bring your kids there in the first place. Go watch Lula Rich. Okay, I know.
I don't need to watch LuLaRich. I am somebody that had LuLaRich help ruin his life.
LuLaRich is a documentary on the cultism of multi-level marketing companies, right? And guys, it's eye-opening. And I've been studying a lot of the cult behavior stuff lately, and it's actually fascinating.
Just
and
research.
Part of what is part of
just harmless research.
Well, part of what is part of the reason for my study. I've studied cults for a long time. I've been studying it more lately relative to some of the stuff that's going on in politics. But there's some stuff within the way that cults groom people to be members of cults that's also part of the activity of psychological warfare in taking a POW and trying to convert them into a functional informant. And sometimes that even results in releasing them back into the wild, as it were, so that they can inform more. And a lot of that is constant, positive, magical, wishful thinking. Danny and Alex were talking about this with the LuLaRich documentary the other night in a lot of detail. Danny's pretty smart on the cult stuff, but I don't think she has my experience from the interrogation world that's associated with it, obviously. But although I just had a vision of Danny doing the whole interrogation circuit, and let me tell you something, that is something I would like to commit to film for your entertainment and amusement, because it would be hilarious, because Danny is brilliant and a spitfire and about 3 feet tall, and it would be hilarious.
Hey guys, we love you. No, answer the question.
Or I will eat your soul.
Anyhow, but cults, and speaking
Thank you, Danny. May I have another?
Oh, wow. She just defriended us. Woo! Okay,
No, babe, all that I've seen of it is what I watched with you. I promise. Danny and Alex were talking about it the other night. I've seen enough of it to know what they're talking about.
Okay, so...
It's a lot of watching. I don't have time for all that, dear.
So the cult and the brainwashing, you know what? That feels like a good place to
go ahead and transition to the next piece. Well,
to transition and then detransition.
Apparently, because Demi Lovato updates her pronouns. How's that for a transition?
Yeah,
it's just all about respect. And when we say updates her pronouns, okay, why should we care about this? By a wide margin, I don't care about Demi Lovato, but I am deeply concerned about woke culture and social contagion. I'm trying to raise kids in this world, and the enemy is trying to kill them. Mine, just like yours, children in particular. I want to, just real quick, I want to go back to something that you were saying about the last thing. Why do they need to talk to children? Right, this... This, I'm going to say, is a little less severe than what we were talking about just a minute ago with the drag queens.
Only by comparison.
Right, only by comparison. But, and this is part of this. This is the top. This is kind of where you scooch up to the edge on your skis after you get off the lift. You know, right before you lean forward and go down the slippery slope.
I've never been.
This is the top. This is the top of the slope, right? But that stuff with the drag queen kids, that is somewhere on the slippery slope. It's not the bottom of it.
No, good God, no.
We have not yet exhausted their narcissistic psychopathy.
No, the bottom of it is Visa having to threaten Pornhub because there's a 13-year-old girl on their website.
Yeah, apparently. We didn't even get to that bit, and we're not going to have time for that one today.
I was just throwing it in there, but it's...
But Cameron made an important point, but he didn't take it far enough. He asked the question, why do these drag queens need a drag queen story, or why do they need to talk to kids? It's not like they're out there doing awareness campaigns with adults where they're trying to advertise and market drag shows to adults and increase attendance and revenue at shows that are targeted at adults for sexually explicit entertainment, which you can have some problems with, but you're talking about consenting parties there. and that's a whole nother matter.
Yeah, we can't
But
at
the
least
fact
wait for
that
the
they're
age
not
of consent.
doing the trans the kids thing even in tandem or subordinately to that. They're doing exclusively the trans the kids work. And this is one of the major reasons that since the late 90s, early 2000s, when it was super important that everybody know the difference between a transgender, a transsexual, a transvestite, and a drag queen, and that those were 4 distinct categories, and that those distinctions were important, and you needed to know them if you wanted to be a decent person and not a total bigoted monster. You needed to understand these 4 things, and that needed to be a part of the way that you talk to people. And then many of us learned that and tried to, okay, so I can be tolerant and polite and whatever with these people. And then they changed the rules again. And the rule change was we're going to muddy all those distinctions. Now it's all the same thing.
Well, they don't just change the rules, they change the definitions. Sort of like how we're totes not in a recession, guys, because some of the
change the definition.
Yeah, because like, okay, fine, 2 quarters of negative growth, but there are other things that are good, like the stock market's going good. Wait a minute, the same stock market that you want to trash. Okay, I got you.
And
I got you. So let me, while you're pulling that up, let me just say this. I asked a question, and I feel like the question itself has the implication that goes far enough. Like, just think, why does a drag queen need your children to be in attendance to read Green Eggs and Ham or any of the drag and homosexual specific children's books that are coming out now? Because that's not fucking weird at all, okay?
And those are for sale on Amazon, while Matt Walsh's book, Johnny the Walrus, is not.
So, but here's the deal, okay? It's the stretching of the Overton window. What's going on with Demi Lovato, I think, is awful, and it's pretty obvious that she's been through some trauma and abuse and is reaching out to... I mean, she came from Disney, so God only knows what happened to her as she was growing up.
Right.
And I'll throw in a point. A friend of mine said, oh, no, she's changed her pronouns back now that she's lost weight and has a decent haircut. And I was like, savage. Okay.
A decent haircut?
That's, well, look, we're... Okay. But no, it's the stretching
I guess
of the...
farts are subjective.
It's the stretching of the Overton window. If we're being slapped with Drag Queen Story Hour, well, Demi Lovato not being able to make up her mind about what she wants her freaking pronouns to be, that's actually, that's not the weirdest thing I've heard today. And so that's what it is. The left... Mark Levin wrote about this in Liberty and Tyranny. The left is the master of the long game. They can accept taking 2 steps forward and 1 step backward as long as they continue to march on toward their goal.
Correct. And you'll have to forgive me, I'm dying over here. We turned the fans off at the studio for the benefit of the audio production. And, well, that doesn't change me being a fat boy in Georgia in August.
Sean Stryker says stretching is a... poor word choice. That might have to get... Can we give that top comment? That's... Because I would argue that was the correct... Oh, Anarchy Television, near and dear to my heart. Reminds me of the Borg from Star Trek. You will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Yes, and you will be made to care. So, in all seriousness, I'm going to say something positive, and I genuinely mean this. Hopefully, Demi Lovato realizes that she's a girl and that it's okay to just be a girl and that it might even actually be okay to engage in activities that are traditionally feminine and maybe even one day can take that wealth and fame and platform that she has and can find herself a good, solid partner and do things that women find to be deeply satisfying, like procreating. I'm just saying. And if that's misogynist, fine. Number one misogynist. Me and Matt Walsh could be on a fucking billboard together.
Yeah,
sure.
and, we'll let you guys in on a little secret. Many of you already know this. If you happen to be a lefty who stumbled on this show, here's a little secret.
Congratulations. It's okay. The light's supposed to be bright. It's supposed to be.
I like procreating. Did quite a bit of it. And I'm not being silly and making a dirty joke here either. I'm actually talking about the work of raising children. It is deeply and spiritually satisfying, much akin to the vital work of selfing, vis-a-vis Kierkegaard. Make you some babies. It will make you a better person.
Yeah.
It will make you a better and happier person.